All right, everybody. Today, I thought you guys could just hang out with me while I make something for dinner. This is something really healthy and something really good if you like vegetables and things like that. If you have a bunch of vegetables in your pantry and stuff that usually go bad or something, just take everything that you got and cut it up, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. Let me get you a little closer. So I've been in the process of, well, the first thing that I do is I always have a separate bowl for my scraps, because it's good to throw out the scraps in the garden. So I remember last summer I cut the tip of my pinky off with this knife, and it was the worst thing ever. I think once a year I have one big accident like that where I cut myself pretty bad, and yeah, it was awful. I literally cut, and now my pinky has never been the same. It's kind of tender, like the nerve is still right at the surface. So if like I touch the tip of my pinky to anything, it kind of hurts. So now I'm just a lot more careful. But yeah, all this morning I've been trying to button up some things for some different crafts, and you know, because I give out things that I usually sell. I give those types of things for Christmas because I think, I don't know, I spend a lot of time doing it, and I would rather give them away for gifts because I love making people happy, and like, I don't know, something that I made bring them joy. So what I'm doing, like I said, I'm making like a vegetable soup. So I use these vegetables. I use cabbage, carrots, diced tomatoes. I use any type of beans that I have, like red beans or Great Northern beans are really good to eat. And then you want a chicken stock and some type of thickener. So the first thing that I always do, you guys like my new teapot? The first thing that I do is I take my Dutch oven. This is a Dutch oven. It's like a stovetop oven. So the whole, the top and everything will conduct heat and act like an oven, basically. So it's one of my favorite things to cook out of. It cooks things really fast and it cooks things really well. You can also put the whole thing into the oven. So what I do before I make a soup, I don't just throw everything in there because it's not going to taste that great. So you want to get a little bit of olive oil. I use this kind, the Pompeian extra virgin olive oil smooth. And I'll get an onion. And you want to saute that until they're kind of translucent for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how high your heat is. And so while that's doing that, well, first you want to hit it with a little bit of salt because, like I said, it will bring out the natural sugars, which then caramelize the onions, giving them better flavor. And you guys know how I feel about seasonings. You guys better be using seasoning. If you don't know how to cook, follow these things, like season your food and saute it before you put it in the oven, or saute it before you do certain things, and it's going to taste like your food is like a lot, you put a lot more time into it than you actually did. So next, we're going to take carrots. Now with carrots, I always peel them, and I don't know if you know this, but your little vegetable peeler, you can use it back and forth. You don't have to just go one way. That takes forever. But get a bowl and just back and forth. Very fast. It like cuts down your peeling time by like a lot. And then if you cut them in half, lengthwise, then you can cut them again into slices. And you want to saute these as well. I like to cut mine on an angle. So you put the ends, so you cut down like this. Oh, cut the ends off. Don't want the ends. Okay, now that they're lengthwise cut in half, then I go in and I usually cut them on an angle because, I don't know, they just look prettier that way. Allison was supposed to get off the bus here, but, well, she said she was going to get off the bus. She was not really required to be here or at her dad's. She kind of goes and comes and goes as she pleases. So there's never any fights or anything like, oh, it's my day, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but I always cut these on an angle. I used to really hate vegetables, but like if you cook vegetables the right way, they taste amazing. Like the two main ways that hold on. Sorry about that. Travis called and he was looking for Allison. So yes, I saute everything. Then I take my carrots over to the pot and I saute those as well. I basically just saute all of the ingredients together. And you want to season. The best way to season your soups and your stews is to season every layer, because then you know you have seasoned it enough and not too much. So I put, like, there's not that much onions, so I put just 2 little, shakes. Then there, I season the carrots as I put them in. So you season every layer, so you're not guessing if you put too much salt or anything like that. And so the other spices that I will use, well, for that, I'm going to wait until I get everything in. And so next we're going to chop up the cabbage. Now actually let's chop up the rest of these carrots that I have. The Polish, Eastern European ancestry that I have, there's a lot of cabbage recipes, and there's a big, I've loved cabbage since I was a kid. My grandmother, she used to make purple cabbage. There's this purple cabbage recipe that they used to make, and I still make it sometimes, but if you're not used to the smell, man, you're not going to like it because it's strong. It's got like, I don't know, you cook it with vinegar and things like that, but it's really good. And that used to be like a staple dish at our Thanksgivings, which those didn't last long. Both my grandmothers died when I was 13. So I barely got to know them. Like, I have memories of them, but I didn't get to know either of them, which really sucks. So that's why I tell you, like in my last video, I tell you guys to cherish the people while they're in your life. Like, don't wait. They're like, seize the time when you have it with people. Because life does go quickly. And before you know it, 10 years have gone by and you're like, how did that happen? I know all my older viewers can vouch for that one, because I talk to so many people who have a lot of regrets in their life, all because they, out of pride and out of ego, and I just want to always be aware and keep myself aware that relationships, it doesn't take much. It just, all it takes is acceptance for another person, and accept them for who they are, and move past it, and choose to have them in your life or not. But if you choose to have them in your life, you know, there's no point in trying to harp on and change people. You know, just let them be who they are, and love them for all that they are right now, because tomorrow's not promised, you guys. But to be aware of that is not a morbid thing. It keeps you more present. It keeps you appreciative. It keeps you grateful for the things that you have, rather than being in a lacking mind state and seeing all the things that you don't have, and seeing all the ways that you lack. Instead of that, just continue to remind yourself every day how lucky we are that we're alive and that we're healthy. If you are healthy, if you're not, then I'm very sorry, and I hope that you get better, and I hope that things get better for you. But when you're in a lacking mind state, and when you continue to only talk about things that are going wrong in your life, you're going to continue to attract things to talk about that are going wrong. But if you live in the moment and you love people for how they are today, and you don't bring your expectations to the table, and you see life in the bigger picture with a more broader perspective, you get to really forgive and forget, and just move past things and people that hurt you, and just keep moving. That's all you really can do in this life, is to be aware that one day all of your experiences will only be memories, and to not spend a second of those moments trying to go against the grain and make people fit your perspective and fit your expectations, because you're only going to have issues. If you have a child or a parent or a friend or a boyfriend who is one way and you wish they'd be another, just let it go, because if they're not going to change, there's no point in continuing to hurt yourself with, you know, having this expectation of the way that you think that they should be, or how your relationship should be according to society, or blah blah blah. And just love people for who they are, and be in the moment and appreciate the now for what it is. You really have a sense of peace. Like, okay, nothing really matters anyway. It all matters, but it all doesn't matter. I don't know, you guys. If you could even, I hope that this makes sense to you guys, what I'm saying. So what I use is the California garlic. Season the carrots. And then I use, this is where it's good to have a bunch of your own seasonings. Or if you don't have your own seasonings, just use store-bought. I like to use marjoram. Marjoram really goes well with vegetables. It brings out like an earthiness in the vegetables. I like to use oregano, which I'm going to use the rest of this actually. I'm going to have to pick some more. Make sure you get all the stems out. Or you can get these things on Amazon. And if you don't like to go through the trouble of picking the stems off of your stuff, get one of these, put all your herbs in it, and just put it into your soup and let it cook with it. And there you go. It will infuse all of the herbs into the soup. Or you can use cheesecloth and do the same thing. Or just tie a little bundle of herbs up and just set it inside. There you go. And I also like to use a bay leaf and thyme and some rosemary because I'm going to put some potatoes in this as well. So it's like got a lot of fiber and protein, and it's all really good for you. So yeah. And it's really, really yummy. It's like one of the best vegetable soup things that you'll have. Even my daughter likes this, and she doesn't really like vegetables. Okay, so now we got to cut our cabbage. So let's go over here. Now look, if you've got cabbage like I do that's been sitting in your fridge for a long time, it should still be firm like mine is, but it will have these black stuff on it. Just cut that off. Okay, just cut it off. It's not going to kill you. Just cut those pieces off. Put them in your compost bin thing. Cabbage adds a really nice crunch and flavor to a soup. I love cabbage in my soup. So just get all of the little black parts off. No problemo. And then you just cut it up from there. Take this outer leaf off. You want to kind of cut that core out though. So you want to cut around the core. You don't want that core. So do this and just cut it like that. I like to cut it in kind of long strips. Cut this core out. Like this. Because it will shrink down once you start cooking it. So let's bring this over here. Put this in. Whoop. It already smells really good in here. You want to put a little bit more oil on top. More seasoning. And to kind of get it cooked down, you just put your lid on of your Dutch oven and just let it cook for maybe a couple minutes. And then once I let it cook for that couple minutes, I'll be back. All right, next thing what we're going to do is you're going to open and strain and rinse the red beans as well as the other beans that you have. Pour everything with the juice and everything into that. So I just use this fine mesh sieve. Rinse it with cold water. Now first what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of flour to our vegetables. And we're going to let it cook. So I have flour, my flour in these. Actually, let's not do the flour because this is going to be better without flour. So Let me open my tomatoes. So you pour your everything into the pot, juice and all. I love tomatoes in a soup. And then you add chicken stock. Then you put your chicken stock in. And you can leave the top of this off and cook it, and it will, as it cooks down, as some of the liquid evaporates, it will get thicker. And another thing I like to add is a little bit of tomato paste, because that makes a big difference. And then also, at this point, we're going to season again. So pepper. Not a lot of pepper because Mark doesn't like spicy things. Our rosemary. So I've got rosemary here from the garden. I'm going to add a tad bit of chili powder. Some ginger. Let's see, in fact, I've got whole ginger right here. So I'm going to use some of this. No, I'm going to use powdered ginger because that way I can control the flavor of it, how much I put in. Where's my ginger? Hello, where's the ginger? I know I've got some. Here it is. Oh wait, no, that's onion powder and parsley. Well, isn't that strange? Oh, it's over here with the baking stuff because I used it for pumpkin pie. So we're going to put a little bit of ginger in. Just a tad bit, you guys, because this ginger is a strong flavor, but it's really good. And then we're going to put a little bit of sage, because the sage goes really well with the vegetables and the tomatoes and the cabbage. And that would be that. A little bit of parsley flakes. And once it gets to a boil, then you want to add your about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons, depending on how much liquid you have, of double concentrate tomato paste. This will also add a thickness to your stew, and then let your vegetables cook down, everything gets soft. You want to have enough liquid to cover all of the vegetables. So, you don't want to add your potatoes quite yet. So you let that cook down a little bit, and then you add your, nope, we need to add our beans. So our beans go in. I'm going to do a can of white beans as well. And this soup tastes 100 times better the next day. I'm telling you guys, this is like one of the best soups that I make. It's like a southern take on like vegetable soup. So let your beans drain of any excess water. And we add those. And I'm going to add another cup or so of water. Just to give it enough liquid to cover everything, because you don't want it to have not enough liquid. That won't be good. So this is what we're looking like. So here we go. Get it all stirred in. And this is a perfect thing to eat on a cold winter day. So I'm gonna let this cook. Don't forget to season as you go. I'm gonna let this cook with the lid off so it will condense a little bit. Once it gets to boiling, remember, add your paste in. Well, it's gonna start boiling here in a minute, so I'm just gonna add my paste in right now. This just adds another depth and thickness and layer to everything. And so once it's cooked for like 30 minutes, then you add your chopped up potatoes, sorry. You can leave the skin on to keep them from mushing up and just going into the soup, but the potatoes will also thicken the soup as well as they cook. So for the first 10 minutes, I let that cook with the lid on. Then I remove it, or once I add the potatoes in, then I keep it off and I just let it, I put it on about low, and I let it cook for a good couple hours. And then I usually don't eat it until Mark gets home. So I will show you guys what it's looking like when it's all finished up, or when we go to the next step and adding the potatoes. So, okay guys, I forgot to show you the soup when it was done, but here is what it looks like. This soup is so delicious. As you can see, when I got it all cooked in there, it was this up to here. It reduced, you let it reduce for a while, let it cook down, and it is so good. And it's so good for you. It's all good vegetables. You can throw literally anything you want in here. So if you guys make this, or if you enjoyed this video, let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.